Hello everyone and welcome to Walk and Talk with Josh. I have a special episode today because I have two guests for the first time on a Walk and Talk. So we're going to get going, do introductions, and have a good conversation today. Are y'all ready?
Ready.
Let's do this. All right, Joe, I'll put you up first. Introduce yourself and a little bit about your work.
So I'm Joe Guldi. I'm a professor of data science and decision science, although I have a PhD in history.
I'm Marnie Hughes-Warrington. I'm Distinguished Professor and Provost from the University of South Australia. I'm a systems philosopher and an historian.
Wonderful. So two historians here.
Yes.
I love it. So first, obviously, Marnie, you're on campus visiting. Joe, you're faculty here at Emory. Tell us about how you came to do collaborative research together.
It's a good story.
So the nation of Canada basically decided that we needed to be best friends.
I love it.
We independently got invitations for not one, but a series of universities to give talks. And then when I appeared, there was this other woman who was giving talks at all the same times and places.
Yep.
We were put in hotel rooms next to each other, and we had a series of breakfasts in which we came to understand that our projects were adjacent. And we fell in love with the ideas and started doing research and recruited some Canadians along the way. And now we have an international research project about AI.
What specifically about AI? Because we know AI is a big field.
Yes.
But obviously, given that you two are historians,
Yes.
would love to hear more about this collaborative project.
Well, we're interested in consumer safety standards. So we're interested in the kind of text you consume, whether you're looking at Wikipedia or getting information from a large language model, or whether LLM generated text is appearing in your elementary school classroom or in your classroom at Emory. We want the consumer to know where did this text come from? How representative is it? Am I living in some kind of an intellectual ghetto with the ideas from some subsect of the population? Or is this a generally shared view? Am I reading material that could have been manufactured 100 years ago? Then from the 1950s, is this out of date? Is this the latest finding in medicine? So we think about this as a safety standard. We think about it as a product that consumers need and deserve. And in order to understand how to make this, you need expertise not only about AI and the workings of the LLM and tuning it and processing it in the GPU, you also need some information about what text has looked like in the past and what the relationships of different texts are to each other. So that's the history expertise.
That's the expertise. So I always say to people associate AI with the future.
Yep.
But it's actually really about the past. You get all that data from the past.
Right.
How do you make sense of it? If I were using AI, whether I'm watching a movie or I'm going shopping or I'm reading about something that happened, how do I know that the way that data from the past has been handled is going to give me the best possible view? That will mean that I get the best healthcare, that I get access to financial support when I need it or a loan, that I'm able to get the information that I need to buy a house, to go shopping. It's really fundamental to AI.
Absolutely.
And that's why we think we're important to it.
Well, Joe, when you say your consumer safety standards related to AI, I bet most people watching this probably haven't thought of that in relation to AI. But yet you're trying to make sure there are safeguards in terms of the information people are consuming.
Yes. So we want to know, if I look up the Holocaust, I don't want the AI to hallucinate. We know that the AI can hallucinate. It's equally important if I look up medical practice. Am I following some cult healer? Am I getting the directions that they would have had for curing tuberculosis a century ago? Because the large language model, it's not a consciousness.
Right.
It's a series of programs that are pointing to text that exists that came from somewhere in the past. So knowing where that text came from and what to do with it, that's absolutely crucial to making sure that you're getting a representative view, but a view that has room for a diversity of opinions. Just where in the diversity of opinions is this particular text that I'm looking at? Is it dead center? Is it way out in the periphery?
Well, I was going to ask for some examples. You just gave me a great one. Marnie, I was privileged to attend your lecture yesterday. You have an interesting question that you posed.
Yeah, I'm really interested to know when AI is going to win a Pulitzer Prize for history.
Right.
So what expertise and what skills? No offense to all the humans out there, but how well is this technology going? Could it get to the point where it could produce really novel, compelling, well-grounded information that not only we trust, but appeals to our heart as well, that we feel connected to what we're doing. That may seem like a bit of a moonshot at the moment, but I think that's the way we've got to think.
After attending your lecture, it doesn't seem like such a moonshot after all.
I think this is the thing. It's about putting it together in a way and saying what we do is so fundamental to those examples Joe was giving. So if I go to a doctor, it's so easy to be overwhelmed by all the information that I've got. I want to be well prepared. I want to be able to think about the treatments that are going to be best for me. But if there's so much information out there, how do I know that I can trust?
Right.
How do I know that it's safe? We encounter these situations every single day.
Every day.
And we want to know that the information we've got is not just okay, but it's Pulitzer level okay. That's our aspiration.
So you talk about it in a way that, of course, makes sense. I would want the best information. I would want the most accurate and current with historical context and all of these things. How do you achieve that in a way that someone can trust the data? I mean, you talk about, did it pull from this source or this source? How do you begin to footnote or think about, what's the process by which we would reach this type of comfort level with this information?
Well, it's a great question. Behind the back end of any large language model, if it's ChatGPT, if it's Claude, if it's another AI, you have a series of measurements of how similar and how different are these two pieces of text. So that's something that computer engineers have known about for a long time. And people in my field, digital history, have been adopting these methods to ask, how related are the kinds of texts we read in the newspaper today from the kinds of things we'd read in the newspaper in the 1950s? In our research collaboration, we have an international research collaboration, and we have been downloading Wikipedia. And we've been scraping the information from every time Wikipedia articles talk about the past and comparing the vectors based on those articles with each other in order to make calculations. And so this is a kind of prototype of the kind of information awareness and safety wrapper that we'd like to see meshed around any kind of output from a large language model. And we've been pioneering this kind of toolkit, this public-facing toolkit for users and safety in my lab for a long time. We invented an app called Democracy Viewer, which is used if you want to understand what they're saying in Congress right now against what they were saying in Congress 20 years ago or 100 years ago. Ours is the app to go to. And you can use it with any kind of text in the world. You can use it for your city council debates or for your board meeting debates in order to compare the individuals who were in that room, the whole institution over time, in order to compare two different entities. How do they talk about women? How do they talk about men? So we're talking about white box tools for detecting bias and understanding institutions and people. That's what we're trying to serve from my lab to the public.
But the recipe is really that you start by who's this going into the hands of? Remembering over and over again that it's your family, your children, that's who you're making it for. Then you need in the recipe the ability to work across disciplines. I'm a theoretician, Joe works a lot in data, we work with AI, computer science. The outside world doesn't matter. Doesn't care about those disciplines. What it cares about is that we're working together on one of the most difficult problems, technically. So we work together. And then there's that ambition, that moonshot, to say we actually do deserve better. Right. And so a lot of it is, frankly, just rocking up, working together. But it also needs great infrastructure, an ability to work on the data 24/7, because it is big and it's a complex problem. So,
and you spoke at lunch. We had lunch before this, and you talked about this being non-political because we're in a time that's highly politicized. And when we come back to AI and how this is going to impact how we receive data that's coming at us faster than ever, it has to be in a way that we can all trust.
It's a service standard. Yep. We're saying, if you get a quote for a vehicle or a house, you expect that to be pretty good, right? But if you ask a question of an LLM and get a response, what confidence have you got that that response is a good one?
Yep.
I expect a good service level. That's what we want for everyone, but we want the answers to be safe as well. We want to make sure that our children and our friends, when they seek that information, are not going to engage in harmful behaviours towards themselves or to other people. This is really critical for us. So that's what we're really wanting to do.
Joe, any additional comments?
Oh, I think it's really important to understand the relationship of building this kind of AI to an institution like Emory.
It's going to take us there next.
So this is a great liberal arts
I was going to say,
institution.
Emory's a liberal arts institution. Emory College of Arts and Sciences. Why should Emory be thinking about AI?
Well, I'll say first that my students don't necessarily know what that term means. Liberal arts. It doesn't mean that we're liberal, not conservative.
Right.
It's the artes liberales, which in ancient Rome, citizens thought you should study if you were going to be a free person. So that means you know math, you know something about literature, you know something about history, you know about political science. These are the classical fields of study. So liberal arts institutions like Emory have been teaching these for 100 years or more in order to give students an experience of citizenship. Emory's strength was in the liberal arts for a long time. Now we have an excellent computer science department, an excellent data and decision science department, with some really world-renowned interdisciplinary faculty. So this is an ideal place to build because we're not right in the middle of Silicon Valley. We're not reading the same papers as everyone else. We read a lot of those papers, but we also have this wealth of interdisciplinary knowledge. So here at Emory, we have 15 faculty in the digital humanities who have a specialty in text and culture and computers.
And you say 15, but that's significant compared to many of our peers.
That's more than any other institution in North America. So we have rivals in Europe, but no one else here. We have international relationships with other scholars. We've got people who have expertise in both computer science and in history, like myself. And so in my lab, we work with computer scientists, we work with data scientists, we also work with people from across the liberal arts. We have students from data science and computer science. We have students from history and environmental studies in my lab working and doing this research. And they all learn how to write, how to think, how to code. They do it all. We're an all-purpose lab. So you can really cultivate that kind of a community in a place like Emory, where you would be fighting for attention at another institution. You would be fighting for attention against traditional modes of computer science and traditional modes of computer science funding, which it's gotten us wonderful things. It's gotten us ChatGPT and Claude and other forms of open AI. Yeah. But to solve the hallucination problem, you're going to need a more interdisciplinary approach. And that's what we can build at Emory.
So obviously there were many reasons I wanted to do this, but you're starting to hit home that Emory is developing quite a muscle in this particular area. We're bringing in other scholars visiting our campus who are speaking in this space. And I bet many who will watch this had no idea that we had developed this strength and are continuing. So as we think about alumni, parents, friends of the university, how can they get involved? What can they do? What is the vision for how we carry this forward?
So we're building out majors that will make this kind of expertise recognizable. Right now, data and decision science is the home of interdisciplinary computational inquiry at Emory College. So the best thing to do is to take classes, quantitative theory and methods. Yep. I teach a course called QTM 240, which is an intro to text as data. It's a course held with a number of other digital humanities faculty. But we're going to be offering talks, we're going to be putting up a website and offering videos of talks that will keep you up to date with what we're doing.
And maybe doing some alumni programs.
Exactly.
That would be fantastic.
I mean, for us, it's really, I came here because it's got that muscle, as you said, but it's also nimble. It breaks the walls down to solve, because the biggest problems are ones that don't sit neatly within disciplinary boundaries. And it's got that ambition, right? That's why I'm here. What we need is people with time, with care, with expertise and with support to help us, because it is a big problem.
It's a big undertaking.
And people will bring lots of expertise as alum, and we really want to hear from them.
Well, and people are confused. People don't know what to think. And I hope that this is a beginning of a conversation, not the end, that brings our community into these conversations to hear about the amazing things that Emory's doing, the partnerships that we're developing, and is open to joining us in this conversation as we move forward.
Yes, I hope so as well. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you both for doing this. Thank you all for joining for another episode of Walk and Talk. It's been fun. This has been really exciting, and we look forward to you joining us for the next episode. Take care, everyone.